Hello, welcome to the Matt O'Grady Coaching Podcast, mattogradycoaching.com, theliving.gratitudebook.com. A lot of .coms. Hey everybody, how you doing? What's going on? I know, it's been a while. I missed you too. So this is the Matt O'Grady Coaching Podcast. We've got a lot of new listeners. So just want to give people a quick update on what this show is about. I'm a coach, been coaching people for almost 6 years, pretty much a few months after I launched this podcast, which is just over 6 years old. And we've had almost 350,000 downloads. And the last couple of years are probably 60-70% of those downloads. So we're just growing quickly. Thank you so much for downloading, listening, sharing. We're on all these new mediums. We used to just be on Blog Talk and iTunes. And last several months, we've been making sure we're loaded up everywhere. And the results are coming in. Thanks so much for all the complimentary notes. Lauren, if you're listening, I haven't forgotten about you. And so, you know, there's a lot going on here. So this is a coaching podcast. Really what I like to do is share all the types of things I'm working on with my clients so that you kind of have an inside clue. You kind of know what's going on in my coaching business without actually being a client of mine. You can see some things on the blog at mattogradycoaching.com too. It gives you an idea of the topics we talk about. Obviously gratitude, because I wrote a book called theliving.gratitudebook.com, Living Gratitude, A Simple Path to Happiness. So, you know, you can check out that information, find out more about me and my philosophies and how I like to help people, because I took my life 20-something years ago. Let's just say it was a mess, a complete mess. I was angry, I was confused, I was scared, I had a lot of anxiety, I had a lot of physical pain, mental pain, emotional pain, soul pain, whatever you want to call it. And I decided, once I started getting some things just coming back to some sort of connection, real connection with myself, I realized that anybody can do this. You know, it's not just people who have some great talent or, you know, people who are lucky or anything like that. We can all do this work. The greatest people that have ever lived are just beacons of what we can all do. And that's just the truth. Yes, pregnant pause for effect. Hope you felt that there. For real, we can all do what they have done. However, there's often a pretty big difference between the greatest people who've ever lived, you know, and quote unquote the rest of us, right? And that is focus and follow through. The two main things that I think people forget about. They think somebody's lucky, they got a break, somebody did them a favor, they came from money, they had great athletic ability, they were super smart, you know, whatever those things are. And sure, people are born with certain talents. I was born with a few, not as many as I'd like. And, you know, it's really what we make the most of. Because even I was a stutterer when I grew up. So I was a kid when I was probably, I think it was somewhere around 6 years old, 5 or 6 years old. I would stutter. And it wasn't all day long, every sentence I was trying to say, but there were. And I've even stuttered, and I've certainly stumbled. You guys hear me all the time on this podcast. But truth be told, I can speak pretty well these days. You know, almost 400 podcasts, and I've spoken in front of hundreds of people. In the fall, I spoke in front of over 600 people, and, you know, I didn't stutter once. You know, it's like we forget that so many of the people who have done great things or different things or extraordinary things or just the kinds of things that we want to do. You don't even have to put a label on it like great or, extraordinary. It's just we see people who have done things that we're impressed by or that we wish we could do in our lives. We kind of feel like there's this distance between who they are, what they did, and where we are and who we are. And this book, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, How to Lose Your Mind and Create a New One by Joe Dispenza, is absolutely blowing my mind. Now, I've read other Joe Dispenza stuff. I think he's great. A couple of those early ones, I think it was Evolve Your Brain, were really sciencey. And it was a little intense for me, even though I read about science all the time. It's, I'm still a layman. I'm not a scientist, unless you consider me a scientist of the mind, because every day my focus is to understand my body, mind, heart, and soul. And when I do that, when I'm focused and following through on that, it's been a good day. It's been a great day. And so as you go through this practice, this exploration of who you are, I'd highly recommend taking a look at this book because it highlights so much of what I do and what I teach and what I've practiced for decades, but it puts it through a scientific filter. And I always find that helpful because when things are mystical or magical or we kind of feel like things are happening in other dimensions and it's all spiritual. A lot of times, for so many of us, myself included at different times, it can feel like weird. It can feel too hokey pokey. It can feel too kumbaya. It can feel too amorphous. Just hard to wrap our brain around. Can't sink our teeth into it. We're looking for something more grounded, more tangible. And truth be told, I've loved so much of the mysticism in my life and kind of mystical, magical, miraculous experiences. I mean, those are awesome too. It's not to take anything away from them. However, when you're a teacher and you want to teach people things, I want to teach as many people as possible, not just people who are really into the mystical, spiritual side of things, but the people who are more practical, have a little bit more of a focus on logic and reason. And here we go, because there's been so many pieces of work on these subjects. But Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Joe Dispenza, I think, is absolutely helpful. It really goes into lots of very interesting studies on the mind and how we make decisions and how our intentions affect vibration of physical things. There's a really amazing study about how these people were affecting DNA strands by their intention. And the only group that was able to do it successfully were the people that were focused on love and appreciation, and then had the intention of unwinding or winding these DNA strands. This is an official, scientific, tested, researched study. We have proof that from a high emotional connected state, being in appreciation and love, as this study reflects, and then we add in an intention, focus and follow through, right? From the vortex, if you will, from our happy place, from being in the zone of, letting go of the worries and just feeling lifted up, feeling inspired. That place we all know that is magical, it is mystical, it is beautiful. And it can still be that even as science continues to study it. I mean, I love how science is out there studying brains and the most spiritual, mystical, powerful people on the planet. I think we should do it with geniuses too. Really understand what's going on in their brains and their hearts and their minds. If you're familiar with the Heart Math Institute, man, amazing stuff over there that they're studying scientifically how the heart affects everything in our lives, how hearts vibrate together, humans and animals, humans and humans, humans and anything, right? Because everything has a vibration. So as you start to go deeper into this work, one of the most important things, because most of my coaching clients, they come to me because they want to change something in their lives, some area, whether it's their relationships or their businesses. I'm an entrepreneur, so I have a lot of coaching clients that are also entrepreneurs, which I absolutely love. Get a little extra entrepreneur coaching, get a little extra business coaching in there with your personal coaching if you're an entrepreneur, just because I'm so passionate about it. Love helping people with their businesses. And as we work on whatever it is that's going on, because I have a whole host of clients that don't talk to me about business at all. They work in corporate or similar, or they're stay-at-home moms or whatever it is. You know, I love working with anyone who wants to change something in their lives. And for whatever reason, they've had some trouble turning it around. So the tip of the day, so to speak, is right in the title of this book. Our habits. So when you wake up 1,000 waking moments per day, and there's a whole podcast on this and how that can help you. It's got 50,000 in the title. I don't remember what, 50,000 moments in your day or something. 50,000 opportunities per day, something like that. Anyway, check out that podcast as well, because it would be very supportive to this one. So when you think that you have about, round number, 50,000 waking moments a day to direct your attention towards what you want, towards what you want to be different, not staying focused on the problem, not staying focused on what's wrong, but looking away from the problem towards the solution. You can't see me right now, but I'm moving my hand through the air. Because if we stay focused on the problem, we attract in more problems. All we can see is the problem, all the ways the problem is wrong, all the ways that this person is wrong and what they did and how horrible it was and how we can't get over it. And we tell our friends and we tell our families and we blog about it and we put it on Facebook and we just make it worse and worse and worse and worse and worse instead of look towards what you want. Now that is the problem, is what you don't want. The change that you want to make in your life that you're unhappy with, that's driving you crazy, that's had you bogged down for years, that issue, that frustration, that anxiety, that stress, that worry, that pain point in life, whatever it is, that's the thing you want to start looking away from. Move your mind and your heart and your focus onto what you want. Okay, now a lot of people don't know what this is, or they think they do, but as they go through a really deep, comprehensive practice of exploring it and talking about it and setting intentions and starting to create the plan to experience that, so many of my clients realize they didn't really know what they wanted. They thought they knew what they wanted, but more often than not, what I find is that we're much more familiar with what we don't want than what we do want. People say, oh, I want a happy relationship. Well, wait, you just told me 57 reasons why your relationship is bad, but the only thing you want about your next relationship or for your current relationship to turn into is that you want it to be happy? Well, come on, people. We need to have at least 57 reasons why you want this other thing. Do you see the differential there? You see the depth and focus on the 57 reasons why your relationship or your business or your body or your life or your family or your business or whatever it is wrong, is a problem, is something that you're unhappy with. Well, if you can give me the 57 details of what's wrong, what the problem is, what you want to change, I want to see at least, in the beginning, at least 57 reasons why you want what you want. Because as you can tell, if you just say, oh, I just want to be happy, well, how do you want to be happy? Where? With who? How long? What's it going to look like? What's it going to feel like? You got to really start changing the habit of staying focused on what's wrong, what you don't like, and how frustrating it is, how you're worried it's going to get worse. And if it gets worse, it's going to equal this. You got to stop. You got to stop that. That is a terrible habit, okay? And it's not nothing to be guilty about here, nothing to make you feel bad, but hopefully you can see the more you focus on your problem, the more you're just going to get reasons from the universe to focus on what's wrong. Life is never going to be truly perfect, right? It's impermanent. We're all going to die, okay? I know people say, Matt, you get so dark sometimes when talking about dying. Well, guess what, folks? I've lost a lot of people that I loved deeply, deeply. We're not talking 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm talking dozens. Since I was a kid, losing family members. Since I was a teenager, losing friends. In my 20s, lost several of my closest friends and family members. Right? So, and the truth is, if we live long enough, we all get to experience that because other people die around us. So instead of having that be something that holds us back, what if we were able to turn that around like any other problem in our life and have it support our inspirational process? How about honoring the people that we've lost by living the best goddamn life we can? How about that? How about that choice? How about honoring the people and the places and the situations and all the things that we've lost that haven't felt good, that hurt, our tragedies, our pains? What if we honor ourselves and all of those people that we cared about and all of those situations that we feel like we lost? Honor ourselves to live our highest potential. Start aiming up. Start leaning. Lift that chin. Lift your eyes. Open your heart. Focusing on what you want. Start feeling how good it's going to be when you have it. Start describing what you want with as much and more detail compared to what you don't want. Do you understand what this will do? Well, if you read Joe Dispenza's book or listen to it, you will find out that it's going to change your life pretty fast. And it's essentially like he wrote a book about the practice I've been doing for 2 decades. And I was a very reluctant person. These first several years I was into this, like a lot of you, right? I know a bunch of you who listen to this podcast very closely. So yes, I'm talking to you. So as you go through this, just step back, just look at your life and ask yourself, am I, out of those 50,000 moments a day, how often am I focused on what I want, what makes me feel the best, what excites me, what inspires me, what motivates me, what feels amazing? How often am I feeling amazing every day? How often? Hours? No, a lot of us, not so much. There are even some days that I don't have hours of it, but most days, I'll be honest with you, I've got several hours of feeling the absolute best that I can. Sometimes it's all freaking day long. Doesn't mean I don't have a few moments here or there where I get caught up, but I've become an expert pivoter, an expert turning it around. No matter what I see, my aim is to turn it around towards what I want, what feels best, what I'm excited about. Sometimes it's important to just accept it and be aware of it. Sometimes your intuition, especially when we lose someone, we lose a job, a relationship, a person, there's a real beauty in kind of a conscious grief process of acknowledging it and accepting it and feeling the sadness so that we can appreciate what we lost and to channel that energy into what we now want, to drive us towards our potential, drive us towards what we really want, what's really possible for our lives. But if you keep the same habits every day, you keep using those 50,000 moments to focus on what you don't want, or just that's the same, right? That's one of the big things I took away from this book is Joe talks about how the science points to it's not just being focused on things we don't want, but being focused on the same. So even in around kind of these more neutral moments throughout the day, if you're just doing the same thing, if you always eat the same foods, if you always drive home the same way, if you wake up and do the same things, and right before bed you do always the same thing, especially if it's not supporting your highest good, man, let's take a look at that. Let's pull back the layers. Maybe we can try something different. Maybe we can explore something different. Maybe we can research something different. Maybe we can cook something different. Maybe we can go to a different restaurant or a different theater or a different gym, or hang out with different friends, or call up a different family member, or listen to different music. I mean, there's a million, there's no less than many millions of ways to do this. But throughout your own life, what do you already do that you could do differently? Can you drive home a different way? Can you speak with a different accent? I don't know. I'm just making it up. But have some fun with this. You know, it's like a little role playing, little exploration of what's possible. Do you always hold your hands on your hips? I don't know. Turn them around. Put your hands on your shoulders. Put your hands on your head. I don't know. Just do something different with your body, with your mind, with your TV choices, and manage that TV, man. It's dangerous, right? Before you know it, you could be watching 20, 30 hours of TV a week. Some people watch way, way more than that. Or screen time. Remember, your phone and your iPad and your TV and your computer screen. I mean, listen, just how we're trying to manage young people's screen time, it's important for us to manage our own screen time. If for work you're on a computer all day, like me, a lot of days, then it's really important to get time away from that. Get out into nature. Change that pattern, right? That's why I'm always talking about going for walks and hikes and jogs and getting out in nature, getting to the beach, looking at the sky, being in the fresh air, being by the trees, something green, something beautiful. It's springtime, you know? Really important to get outside, have fun, spread your wings, man. Come on. So important to feel good, celebrate what you have, appreciate what you have. What are you grateful for? Who are you grateful for? How about investing more time in yourself and in your life, in loving yourself more? How about loving everyone else more? Not by doing things, not by doing obligation things so that other people like you or say nice things to you. No, for yourself, because it feels good to love. It feels good to be grateful. It feels good to appreciate what you have. These aren't just practices to go get something else. Don't miss the message. Don't miss the gift, right? To just be on to the next thing. You know, this immediate gratification society that we're living in. Whoa, slow down. Bring some awareness into your life. Notice your breath. Notice the vibrations in your body. Notice your heart and your emotions. Notice how your eyes feel in the socket. Notice the vibration of sounds when you're listening to someone's voice, like my voice right now. Listen to it. Listen to the details. You can hear my tongue and teeth and gums and lips. There's so much that we can connect with and become aware of if we have the focus, if we have the follow-through. But if you're doing the same things every day, the same results. If you're thinking the same thoughts, you're just going to get more of them, and that's going to equal your results. If you're feeling the same way about your life, your business, your relationships, your friendships, your love life, your body, you're just going to get more of the same, and frankly, it's going to get worse, right? It's going to get worse. If you keep staying on a negative path, it spirals down. It doesn't just stay kind of bad. The truth is, after compounding badness on top of badness, you know, feeling crappy, guilty, bored, frustrated, angry, worried, stressful. You feel that day after day after day after day. week after week, year after year, what do you think it's going to do? It's going to make you sick. It's going to make you feel terrible. It's time to give that up. Time to give it up. Come on over to the light side. Have some fun, would you? You can do it. So many of us have. Many, many, many thousands of us that I'm connected to through all my friends who are teachers and other coaches and colleagues. I mean, we get together and we talk about how we're helping people at big events, one-on-one through podcasts like this, through our blogs, through whatever medium we can, because our drive is so strong. All we want to do is help. That's what we want to do. We want to be an example for you, however we can. Doesn't mean we're perfect people. Doesn't mean we're saints. Anybody who knows me well, the last thing I am is a saint. I've done some pretty rough things. I don't mind admitting it. You know why? It's in the past. I was confused. I was lost. I wasn't the most moral individual. I was a party kid. And I was a party adult for a while, too. So what? So what? It's in the past. If I let those choices make me feel guilty, what is my life going to equal to? Full of guiltiness? I mean, it's such a waste. No. I'm getting second, third, and dozens more chances to change my life. And I plan on doing it. I plan on spreading the good word that anyone else can do it too. Come on. It's a good ride over here. It's a good time. Just have to commit to it. You can't just intellectualize it. You can't just think, oh, yeah, I'm going to meditate for 5 minutes a day. I mean, come on. 5 minutes a day, that's how much you're worth? That's how much you want to change your life? Listen, that's all you got time for? Guess you can just go watch more TV. I mean, listen, you can lead horses to water, but you can't make them drink. I'm here to tell you, if all you're worth is 5 minutes of self-love a day or 5 minutes of awareness or whatever, I hear people, I'm so busy. Come on, get over yourself. You're not the president. You're not Oprah. You can do it. I practice in the shower. I practice when I'm brushing teeth. I practice when I'm dressing my son and making him breakfast in the morning. I practice when I'm cleaning the kitchen. We all have time. It's whether we want to commit or not. Are you willing to break these habits? Are you willing to do something different? Are you willing to follow through day after day, aiming for happiness and joy and love and generosity and peace? And really taking the time to be aware of what you're doing, be aware of what you're thinking, be aware of what you're feeling, and then pivoting, changing. When it doesn't feel good, you shift. When it doesn't feel good, you shift. Doesn't feel good, you shift. And you do it with awareness. This doesn't mean repression where you're just pushing your feelings down. No. You're only able to truly pivot and shift if you already know what you're feeling. In fact, it's the only reason that you would be pivoting and shifting, right? So something to think about here. As always, it's been an absolute pleasure. Love you. Thanks for listening.